I mean, a lot of people, a lot of men, a lot of boys find fitness when they're younger.
Yeah.
And you find the gym, you start eating healthier, you prioritize protein, you start building some muscle, you get into supplements, you build this confidence. You'll see a lot of high schoolers, college students going to the gym on a regular basis. But then as they start getting older, and I've seen it with the cohort of people that I grew up with and graduated college, life gets busier.
Mm-hmm.
You have more distractions. You have a full-time job, you get married, you have kids. And it seems like fitness is one of the first things to go out the window. It's never football games on the weekends, or it's never, the barbecue parties. It's never the easy things they get rid of. It's the hard things they get rid of. And fitness seems to always be that one. And I was in this gym a few weeks ago. I was just telling the guys here this yesterday. And I've had this conversation a million times with a bunch of different people, where you start talking and they tell you about, when they were in high school or they were college and the sports they played and the miles they ran, the weights they lifted. And then they go, yeah, but I just don't have time for that anymore.
Oh yeah, always.
And I look at them like, I got time. They're like, well, you work out 5 hours a day. No, I don't. I wake up at 4:30 a.m. I go run my miles. And then after work, I lift my weights. 2 hours a day, which is a lot for some people. You don't need 2 hours.
No.
But if it matters to you, you will make time. But it seems like the first thing that people just forget about, especially guys and men, which is a responsibility and obligation, is the ability to perform in our fitness.
Dude. I don't know how we got here. I do know how we got here. I do, actually. That's a better way of putting it. I know how we got here. The way we got here is that as a society, we have been working for endless years to make things easier. And you could go on a whole tangent here between air conditioning, heat, not exposing to hot and cold. I'm just talking about literally going from more of a manual type labor component to then identifying ways to make it easier, which is, dude, look, that's all good. It's just we have to recognize as a society, we have become more sedentary, right? We have identified jobs that are more you and I are having a conversation right now. We're sitting down. Yeah, we're going to go train and get after it, but we have to be intentional on that. We don't have, our careers are, and maybe we're not the best example of this, but most people's careers are not very active anymore. I'd say many people's careers, maybe not, obviously not everybody, but as a society, especially as men, what we used to do for work or maybe in school or action, activity has gone away. I mean, imagine if you're in the tech industry and you have to be intentional with exposing yourself to fitness because it's not just going to naturally happen to you as part of your job anymore. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so we have made things easier by design, but then also by design, we need to recognize that and see where the pitfalls are. And the pitfalls are we're not exposing ourselves or our youth to hard things as much anymore. And I think that's going to be detrimental long-term. I do. I think that I never feel better. Dude, 2 days ago, I go to jiu-jitsu, Sunday open mat. I just crush it. I do a bunch of stuff and I come home and I feel great. And I know every guy listening to this, they know that feeling where you feel accomplished. You feel like you set aside a short period of time for yourself to then be able to show up the best you can for the rest of that day. And I think that if men just realized how easy it is and stop putting on such a pedestal, that's the first step.
Well, as my kids are getting older, that's the exposure I want to create for them. Right now we moved back to Texas in May.
Yep.
And we're renting a house right now because we're building our house we're moving into next month, actually. Almost done.
That's awesome.
So excited.
Yeah.
But the house we're building is in a neighborhood and it's great. It's a beautiful neighborhood. But I want my kids to grow up running around, playing with dirt, going into the woods. So before we started recording, I was telling you about this ranch that I'm planning on building out. And as much as that ranch is a property to use for BPN and events and hosting athletes, and honestly a big passion project to myself, it's to provide that experience for my kids. I want them to spend the weekends there, bonfires late at night, building fences, taking care of animals, running around, being active. I want them to learn that fitness and being able to perform is not just time spent in the gym or on a treadmill, but it's applicable for all things life and longevity.
Yeah.
It amplifies the joy and fulfillment that we can experience because you can actually perform. I think it's a huge pitfall for so many families, especially in America growing up, is if the parents can't perform, the kids don't know what that looks or feels like. Never will.
I think being capable is a requirement. You know, like as a husband, I signed up for something. And what I signed up for was a commitment to my wife forever, where I will be her greatest, champion. I will do everything I can to protect and provide for her. It's very important to me, that commitment I made when we got married. And if you're not prepared to make that commitment, then just don't get married. Don't that's like, but if you want to make that commitment, then take it seriously. That's the way I looked at it, at least for me. And when my wife and I decided to have children, I kind of took that same mentality. Like, it's my responsibility now. Like we chose to do this. This didn't have to happen. We chose, right? And when you make that decision to have children, I think it's really important to also recognize that that's a responsibility that you just took on to stay as fit and as capable as possible for the rest of your life. Like, you signed up for that.
Yeah.
And I think you're not only signing up for it now today, like as a dad today, it's important to me because I want to be able to go and do all the things. I want to be able to go swim with my daughter. I want to be able to go on walks with her. I want to be able to go play all the sports with my son. That's really important to me. I want to be able to provide those experiences. But as I get older and I age, I also don't want to be a liability. I want to be an asset for my family, right? When I'm in my 50s, 60s, 70s, I want to be an asset. I don't want to be looked at as like, oh yeah, dad can't do that, right? Or dad can't do that, or I have to go take care of him doing this. And obviously there are certain things that are outside of my control as I get older, of course. But what is in my control is training hard today to build this hedge so I can be as fit as I can for as long as I can.